Hi everyone, my name is Alya RAMZAN with MATRIK number of 2019-2447 and 16. So today I will be summarizing the subject Information Technology in Business, which is the MGT 300, and we will be covering chapter 1 until chapter 5. Next, we're going to look at chapter 1, which is Business-Driven Technology Overview. So there are 4 common departments in an organization. The first one is Sales and Marketing. The second one is Operations and Logistics. The third one is Accounting and Finance. And lastly, Human Resources Department. So here I have already defined Information Technology, which is IT, Management Information System, which is MIS, Data, Information and Business Intelligence. So you guys can pause this video to actually look at the explanation. And then we're going to jump on the IT cultures. So there are 4 IT cultures in a business. So the first one is functional culture, where employees use information as a means of exercising influence or power over others. Secondly, we're going to look at the sharing culture, which is employees across departments trust each other to use information to improve performances. And thirdly, we're going to look at the inquiring culture, which is employees search information about their future and know about the current trends. So this is mostly about like a company, for example, TikTok company or Instagram. You have to know about the trends. And lastly, we're going to look at the discovery culture, which is employees across departments are open to crisis and create competitive advantage. And then lastly, in this chapter, we will be focusing on the comparison between management information system and information technology. So MIS is not IT. IT is a computer-based tool, whereas MIS is a business function. IT departments is responsible for the MIS function. That's it for the chapter 1. So we're going to look at the chapter 2. So chapter 2 is about identifying competitive advantage. What is competitive advantage? It is a product or service that an organization's customer place a greater value on than similar offerings from a competitor. So this is actually from the customer's perspective on like how they see your product, whether it's valuable or whether it's worth it to buy this than buying the same product from the other company. So secondly, we're going to look at the first mover advantage. It is where an organization significantly impact market share by being the first to market with a competitive advantage. You're like the first one to actually do the business process. So next, we're going to learn about the Porter's 5 forces model. The first one is buy power, second one is supply power, the third one is threat of substitute products or services, the fourth one is threat of new entrant, and lastly, we have rivalry among existing customers. Next, we're going to look at the Porter's 3 generic strategies. The first one is broad-cost leadership, second one is broad differentiation, and lastly, focus strategy. So what is business process? Business process is a standardized set of activities that accomplish a specific task, such as processing a customer's order. For example, when you pack your customer's order or when you write their address on the array bill. Lastly, we're going to look at the value chain. So what is value chain? It views an organization as a series of processes, each of which adds value to the product or service for each customer. That's it for chapter 2. Then we're going to look at the chapter 3. Chapter 3 is about strategic initiatives implementing competitive advantages. So there are 4 management for you to actually get the competitive advantage. So firstly, we're going to look at the supply chain management, which is SCM. So there are 4 components in it, which is strategy, partner, operation, and logistics. So what is actually SCM? So it is the management of information flows between and among stages in a supply chain to maximize total supply chain effectiveness and probability. Secondly, we're going to look at the customer relationship management, which is known as CRM. CRM manage all aspects of a customer's relationship with the business to increase customer loyalty and retention and profitability. This is like when you know more about your customer. Okay, thirdly, we're going to look at the business process for engineering, which is the BPR. So what is the business process? We have looked into the business process earlier in the chapter 2, which is this standardized set of activities that accomplish a specific task. But then we're going to look at the re-engineering. So what is that? It's actually the analysis and redesign of workflow within and between enterprises. This is when you minimize the business flow. Instead of going through multiple processes, you shorten it to make your customer enjoy the experience on getting the service or product. So lastly, we're going to look at the enterprise resource planning, which is ERP. It is a system that collects data from across an organization and collect the data, generating an enterprise-wide view. It is a system where you add all of the information from across the department, like everything from across the department is there. So it is easier for employees across the department to actually look for the information that they're looking for from other departments. So we're going to discuss about how CRM systems help organization. Organization can identify and understand consumer more deeply. This is when they know like a customer like the product or they don't like about the service. So this is where you can improve your business and how BPR system can improve business. Basically you perform better tasks, cheaper and better in the process. So most company does not even realize the better and different way in doing business. By doing this system, it actually provides business to have a direct and easy way of doing business. So that's it for chapter 3. Then we're going to look at the chapter 4, which is the measuring the success of strategic initiatives. So firstly, there are key performance indicator, which is KPI, measures that are tied to business drivers. Metrics are detailed measures that fit KPIs. Performance metrics fall into the big area of business intelligence that require inputs from both IT and business professionals. So there are two IT metrics in the business, which is efficiency IT metric and effectiveness IT metric. Efficiency IT metrics measures the performance of the IT system. There are throughput, speed, availability, accuracy, web traffic, and response time. Next, we're going to look at the effectiveness IT metric. It measures the impact IT has on business processes and activities. There are usability, customer satisfaction, conversion rates, and also financial. There are also metrics for measuring and managing strategic initiatives. There are 5 metrics, and you guys can read it. Next, we're going to look at the chapter 5. Chapter 5 is about organizational structures that support strategic initiatives. There are IT strategic positions in an organization. So the first one is Chief Information Officer, which is CIO. It manages, lead, and communicate between the employees across the department. And there are Chief Technology Officer, which is CTO. Chief Security Officer, which is CSO. Chief Privacy Officer, which is CPO. And lastly, we have Chief Knowledge Officer, CKO. There are obviously gaps between IT personnel and business personnel. IT personnel have the technological expertise, but business personnel possesses expertise in functional areas such as marketing, accounting, and sales. So it typically causes a communication gap between both of the personnel. So CIO needs to make sure that business personnel and IT personnel have an effective communication. So I have defined the ethics, privacy, and information security, and I hope you guys can pause to see that. So thank you for watching. So that's it from me. Thank you.